here, get their full attendance. So not trying to be difficult, just want to make sure you get your attendance like you're supposed to. So with that being said, so again, Jennifer Martinez, I'm going to be your facilitator for the next 12 weeks. Um, my primary specialties are pediatrics and geriatrics, in addition to education. So started in geriatrics way back when, as an LPN. And then as I moved into an RN role, I stayed within long-term care, did a little bit of pediatrics, as well, while I was going back to school so I could work during the day and go to school in the evenings, which was a little bit easier doing that in peds than it was in long-term care. Um, and so like I said, I started in education back in 2012. I started as a clinical instructor, labs, Sims, and then eventually moved into didactic as well as leadership, positions within a couple different schools. So I really love education. I still, okay, thank you. I still work in long-term care. I work overnights, right now. So can't get away from it. It's one of my passions. And it's hard to find a lot of people that like to work in long-term care. So with that being said, all right, I know we still have one that is still trying to get in. All right, thank you. Um, so raise your hand right now if you are currently working in healthcare, CNA, care tech, med tech, medical assistant. Okay, cool. So where are you guys currently working?
So I'm not technically working anymore, but I was working for Allied Services. But with like the workload between school and working, I decided that work needed to go on the back burner for now so I could put my full focus into school. But I've been a CNA for 8 years.
Oh, wow. Okay. Awesome. Jacqueline, I see your hand is up too.
I work at Dunmore facility,
Okay.
Dunmore Healthcare, and I've been a CNA for about 6 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I do
Awesome.
agency, so I go to different facilities. I've been an aide for 20 years.
Oh, wow. Okay. Awesome.
I work in a
Um,
children's hospital as an ED tech.
Oh, okay.
I
Do you
work at
like
Mobile
peds?
Infirmary.
Oh, go ahead.
I work at Mobile Infirmary as a unit secretary and a tech, so I do both.
Oh, wow. Okay. Awesome.
I work at Sealand Scrolls Center here in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
I work at one of the local hospitals in our emergency room as a PCT. I've been a medical assistant for over 15 years.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, how many of you that are already working are you going to stay in the same area? Or I know, like, not as a CNA, like, obviously, when you graduate and you pass your NCLEX and get licensed, are you going to switch areas or do you have a desire to stay where you are?
I'm definitely thinking about taking a break from long-term care.
That's understandable. Understandable. How about the ER? Do you like the ER?
I like the
I'm
E
interested. Sorry.
I like the ER, but I want to go to cardiac and I also want to do geriatrics. So
Okay.
I'm in limbo with that.
Okay. Awesome. It's hard, sometimes, when you're trying to kind of figure out what you want to do, and sometimes, you get really comfortable where you're at and you're like, oh, I might just stay here. But one of the wonderful things about nursing, right, is there's so many different areas that we can go. And so if you stay in one area and you're not like 100% sure you really love it, you can find another aspect of nursing to go to. So, that's pretty interesting. It's one of the things that I love about nursing, is that there is such a, variety of things that we can do and places that we can work, clientele that we can work with, right? So you're not always just stuck in one position. And I know it's a little odd. I go peds and geriatrics, but those are my two favorites. Um, populations to deal with. I'm not a mother baby. I like the babies after they're born. And they're all, clean and nice and pretty. And, working with the kids as they grow. And then geriatrics. I don't know. I just love the older population. I love the stories. I mostly work rehab and skilled care. So I deal with a lot of like the hip replacements, and knees and stroke, post-stroke and things like that. I do, of course, still get the dementia, the Alzheimer's patients as well, because they still have um, comorbid.
Morbidities.
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to
I'm sorry. I'm trying to help Felicia McPherson get on because she's still trying to get on. She on FaceTime right now, just listening in, but she don't want to be
okay.
counted absent.
So is she in Canvas?
She is in Canvas.
Tell her to click on nursing, the announcements that says welcome to nursing care of the older adult.
She said, click on the announcements that say welcome to the care of the older adults. Can you
Okay,
hear
let me
it?
go back to announcements. If that's not even look, let me turn my thing back around so you can see.
Because I don't see it on her. She's showing me hers and I don't see it.
Everything's about the clinical schedules and parking.
Okay, that's not my class.
Let me see her picture because her picture will pop up if it's her. Okay, I'm gonna mute it until we make sure.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, we'll get started. I just want to make sure everybody can get logged in. Katiana, are you there? We have a student logged in, but
That's one of my classmates. I could text her and see what she
okay.
doing.
So while we're waiting, um, those of you that are currently in the chat, can you tell me what campus you are from?
Orders.
What?
Which
I'm
area?
sorry. All right, Joseph. I'll just write yours in. Which Fortis?
Oh, oh, I'm in Scranton, Florida. PA,
Thank
right there.
you. Oh, that was good. I like that.
Norfolk Fortis.
You
Who
heard me?
said Norfolk?
I said they didn't even give me the opportunity to put my name in.
Shaquana.
It popped up F McPherson.
Okay.
Pensacola.
All right.
Fortis, Pensacola.
Who said that? Sorry.
Jessica, kid.
Jessica.
Yes, ma'am.
Fortis, Pensacola.
That was Katrina.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm at Fortis, Centerville.
Maisha.
Danae.
Danae. Okay. Sorry.
You're fine.
Centerville, Fortis.
Who was that? I was looking
Joanna.
down. I'm sorry.
Joanna.
Joanna, thank you.
I'm the one in Maisha is Norfolk. Scranton. Sorry,
Go ahead. Sorry.
Maisha is where?
Scranton.
And who else was talking?
Katiana in Norfolk.
Norfolk. Okay.
It's Mariah, and I'm Centerville.
Mariah Centerville. Okay.
Jacqueline is in Pensacola.
Okay. All
And then
right.
I put it in the chat, but Jackie Rupert, I'm at Fortis Scranton.
And I'm Ashley Perez, and I'm in the Scranton campus as well.
All right.
Sydney, and I'm in Scranton as well.
Sydney Johnson. Okay. All right, awesome. All right, so for Katiana and is it Katiana? Um, and Felicia, please turn your cameras on.
I'm
Try my
working
best.
on
I'm
it.
at work, but
You still have to have your camera on.
oh Lord.
All right. So we're gonna go through the orientation PowerPoint, and hopefully we will get all of your questions answered. If not, we will discuss everything afterwards. So I'm going to share my screen. All right, everybody can see the PowerPoint. All right, awesome. So again, welcome to Nursing Care of the Older Adult. So online learning, how many of you have taken online courses before? All right. So
high
some have and some
school.
haven't. All right. Well, online learning is just like what we're doing here. It's using the computer, it's using your internet to participate in your program. I get to interact with you throughout the course, and we will use the online resources that are in your course shells. I will give you guidance. I will lead learning activities. I will give you feedback regarding your progress in the course. And so you will have weekly homework assignments. You'll have learning activities that will need to be done, as well as quizzes and tests. So you are going to be responsible to complete the required coursework every week. And one of the great things, and this is something that I really love about Fortis, is in the online environment. You get to meet people from other Fortis campuses, right? So we had Pensacola, we had Scranton, we had Norfolk. What else do we have? We had Centerville. So did I say Pensacola? I said Pensacola, Scranton, right? So just the sum that I was able to get down. So you kind of get to meet people from other campuses within Fortis College. So I always thought that was pretty cool. Contact information. So contact information, I am your first stop. So if you have any technical issues, any course questions, any grading concerns, feel free to reach out to me. Um, Sorry. And so on that syllabus cover sheet, you have my phone number, you have my email address, you have our Zoom link. You can also message me through Canvas. So any of those options are available to you. Save my phone number. You can call, you can text, whatever you're easier with, or whatever is easier for you. So again, I will be the first and your first contact. If I cannot assist you, or you know something beyond my knowledge base, then I will reach out to you can reach out to the course lead, and I will provide her information for you. And then of course there's always Dr. Brown. So Dr. Darlene Brown, she is the nursing dean of online, or she is the what is she? The National Dean of Online Nursing Education. And her information is on that PowerPoint slide. I will post the PowerPoint for you after orientation, so you will have access to this. Whenever you need it, it will be within the announcements. And then if you have any concerns, of course, for your on-ground campus or your on-ground courses, then you have your clinical instructors, your didactic instructors, or your online or your on-ground dean as well, that you can reach out to on campus. So just a couple things about communication. Only thing is really be courteous, be respectful. and try to remain positive. And if, I get it, things happen, and I understand. I've been, like I said, I've been on campus. I've started at Fortis on campus. And I do understand that there's frustrations. Um, just try to be respectful and courteous like you guys have been. No complaints whatsoever. And I have no problem discussing some of the issues that you're having, and see if we can try to find a good solution for you. Um, be careful of how you're expressing humor, and emotional things. When we talk about certain topics, there might be some things that are a little bit more sensitive. Just want to, try to keep it as professional as possible. Keep our comments related to the discussion topic. Just be considerate, using good, proper language, proper titles, no slang. Um, and then don't type in all caps. That's another thing, that just gives the impression that you're yelling, which I know most of you are already aware of that. Students must be appropriately dressed and groomed, portraying a clean professional appearance. So some of the basic information: no pajamas, no see-through or revealing clothing. And so, we're just trying to, you have to be on camera. I have to be able to see your face, at all times. So there's no pointing to the ceiling. There's no pointing to the floor. I have to be able to see you. So just keep that in mind as well. Alcohol, tobacco, drug use, and testing policies. So the inappropriate use of legal substances such as vaping, tobacco, marijuana, and edibles in tolerant states, and certain prescribed medications as determined by your dean of nursing is prohibited and will not be tolerated under any circumstances. So students are forbidden from vaping, smoking, using tobacco products, including oral tobacco, and using marijuana while in uniform, including after school activities and while in public. It just presents a negative image of the healthcare program. You're also forbidden from using these products while in your street clothes on campus or at a clinical site. And virtual classroom is a classroom and still needs to be respected. So if you use tobacco products, please don't use them while you are in class. All right. So we have scheduled class times, so they are very specific start and end times. So we will meet every Wednesday at 3 p.m. via the Zoom link. Class ends at 4:47. These are mandatory sessions, just like your online, or I'm sorry, just like your campus classes are. These are mandatory sessions, okay? So you must be here in order to get attendance. And again, like I said, and I wasn't trying to nitpick, but making sure that your name is portrayed when you log in. And I will get into it more in the attendance, or yeah, in the attendance, but let's skip that for right now. Academic integrity. So standards of professional conduct. So we'll look at academic integrity. All incidences of academic dishonesty and violations of academic integrity will be disciplined. Okay, so some of these violations would be cheating, plagiarism. Has everybody heard of the term plagiarism before? And does everybody understand what plagiarism is? So plagiarism, okay, is submitting the work of another person for credit or failure to properly cite references for any work that is not original to you. And that would include even allowing another student to copy your work. Unauthorized use of notes or materials in exams, including talking to other students, forging or altering assignments, unpermitted collaboration, so giving or receiving aid on a take-home exam or other academic assignment, allowing others to copy your work, or copy work that is not their own, providing answers from graded assignments to others would be a violation as well. So the last person that just logged in, it just has a number. Can you please put your name and log in with your full name so that I can assure you get attendance? All right, so sites that promote cheating. So use of these sites do not promote honor, ethics, or integrity, and we are monitoring these sites. So if you are found on those sites, that will put you on heightened monitoring for your work, as a potential academic integrity violation. So and as well, referencing these sites or submitting work found on these sites will result in a 0 for the assignment, which may in some cases be enough for you to fail the course. A second incident involving those sites will result in a course failure. Okay, so just stay away from some of them. Again, using the sites, whether you're posting, whether you're downloading, that puts you at risk of being dismissed from the program as well, because your campus and the upper administration will be involved in that. And then if you look in your modules in your Canvas shell, you have a list of resources that are available to you. If they're not on your list of references or resources, don't use them. So some of these sites are things like Studiuco, Course Hero, Stuvia. There's more out there. I can't even think of any more off the top of my head, but there is a variety of different sites out there. So want to be really careful. Don't use them. Just another hint too, Wikipedia is not a reliable source. So try to avoid using that as well. Artificial intelligence. Oh, my screen's about to pop off. Artificial intelligence may only be used as approved by instructors on selected assignments. So if you use artificial intelligence, you must disclose all of that use. And you must submit your original work along with the artificial intelligence enhancements that were done when they are submitted for grading. Students may not submit only AI generated assignments, so be very careful. Within this, we'll talk about it more. Oop. I don't know why we're not, there we go. American Nurses Association Code of Ethics for Nurses. So the Code of Ethics serves the following purpose. It is a succinct statement of ethical values, obligations, duties, and professional ideals of nurses individually and collectively. So it's our profession's non-negotiable ethical standard. It's an expression of nursing's own understanding of its commitment to society. And so those sites that I was talking about, they don't support the code of ethics. All right. So kind of throw that in there so you can kind of understand why, we are looking at that. So let's talk about late work. Hold your name. All right. So all of your assignments have due dates. Okay. They are due according to whatever module or whatever week we are in. Please submit your work on time. If you have to submit an assignment late, that can only be done so with my permission. Okay, so if something is going on and something is happening, please let me know ahead of time. You will still get a late deduction, but if I'm not aware, you could receive a 0 for that assignment. So please just make sure that you are either getting your homework turned in, or you are letting me know that there is an issue. Again, all of your assignments are going to have due dates. So you shouldn't be, if you have any questions, always just reach out if you are unsure. All right, so just again, please make sure that your full name is displayed on your screen so that I can give you attendance. Felicia, is your camera working? It looks like it's covered. Okay. And then Amani, I need to be able to see you. A little bit more. I can only see your forehead. Thank you. All right, attendance. So attendance is only recorded during your assigned live lesson time. So 3 o'clock to 4:47 p.m. on Wednesdays, that is when you will get attendance. I will take attendance during the live session. So to be counted as present in the class, you must sign in with your full name, be on camera the whole time. So the camera can't be pointed to the ground, to the ceiling, wherever I need to be able to see you. Anyone at work or driving will be removed from the session. You cannot be at work. You cannot be driving. You need to be either in a classroom, at home, the library, somewhere but working, driving is not appropriate. Anyone not coming on camera after being asked to will be removed from the session. Okay, so I will, I understand, you may have to take a nature break. Just send in a chat, hey, I'll be right back. But if you are off camera for an extended period of time, I will remove you from the Zoom session. I verify students' time in class by reviewing the login, logout times on Zoom. So at the end of the session, I can log into Zoom and I can pull a report. It will tell me what time you guys log in, log out, all of that stuff. So any multiple changes, your name will pop up. That's why I need your name on there, so that I can make sure that I'm, submitting accurate information regarding your attendance. Attendance missed is recorded in 15-minute increments. So if you're 5 minutes late, that's 15 minutes of class. If you leave 5 minutes early, that's 15 minutes. So please be careful and watch your time. Anyone not posting attendance 14 days in a row will be dropped without notification. Okay, so you have to be in class. If you miss more than 14 days of class, then even though you're doing homework, if you're not on your Zooms, you will be dropped from the class. There's no makeup for missed attendance. So all of our sessions are recorded. And they will be posted in the announcements at the end of class. So you will be able to review recordings. Should something happen and you miss class, you will have access to those recordings. Attendance policy again for nursing courses. It's taken by the instructor. I turn it over to the registrar before the end of the class day. Any early departures, tardies, class cuts will be recorded in 15-minute increments. So just just know that. Attendant records are maintained by your registrars as part of your permanent academic record. Students with chronic absenteeism in excess of 20% of the scheduled hours for the course may receive a failing or reduced grade for the course. Okay, so really keep track of your attendance. If you have any questions, please let me know. Sorry. All right. So students who are absent more than 20%, like I said, you can receive a full letter grade deduction at the end of the term. So please just watch your attendance. Once you get 5% absent, you'll receive an email through Campus View that notifying that, hey, okay, that you are at 5% of your missed time. At 10%, you will be required to meet with me and the instructor, which the course lead and myself. And then if student who is at 15% will be required to meet with the campus administration. So just know, please just be here for class. The last thing you want to do is work really hard, right? And get a really good grade at the end of the term and have missed too much of class to have that letter grade deduction. And so You may also not receive all warnings. Sometimes the attendance letters go out like clockwork, other times they don't. So, it is important that you look at your time as well. Other learning activities, one-to-one tutoring. All of us offer tutoring. All of your instructors should offer tutoring. I offer tutoring. If you need tutoring, if you feel like you need tutoring, please reach out to me. I have office hours on, I said this wrong the other day. It's Tuesdays and Wednesdays from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Geez. If either one of those times do not work for you, email me, call me, text me, let me know. And when you do, give me some additional days and times that you are available so that we can schedule something. I'm pretty wide open availability unless I am in class. Okay, so if you, like I said, if Tuesdays and Wednesday mornings don't work for you, give me some other options so that we can schedule something. Your KGA. So your key graded assessments or I can't even say it, key graded assignments for this class is going to be your unit exams and your HESI. Okay. So there are 3 unit exams, which are going to be 60% of your grade, and your HESI, which is 20%. Then your adaptive quizzes, your lesson assessments, your professionalism grades, those are considered homework. Okay, so you have to have a KGA of 78%. Oops. 78% for your unit exams and your HESI, and then you will get your homework grades added in. So how this will work. The first 5 weeks, the only thing that you're going to have access to see is going to be your KGA. So whatever exams we have within that first 5 weeks, that is what your KGA will be. And that is what you will see averaged into your grade. In week 6, I will turn the homework grades on. All right. And that will show you how your homework, whether you've done all of your homework or none of your homework, you're going to be able to see how that homework is going to affect your KGA. And then week 8, we'll turn the homework grades back off. So you'll just see your KGA, and that's there so that you can make an informed decision as how you want to proceed. And then that homework grade will stay off until after HESI week and everybody has completed their remediation. All right, so you'll take your HESI, you have your remediation to do based off of your HESI grade. Once everyone in the class has completed their HESI and completed their remediation, I will put the HESI grades in and I will turn the homework grades back on so that you can see what your final grade is going to be. Your combined score on the unit exams and the HESI again has to be at 78%. All right, or above. I'm just going with the minimum before you get credit for the completed homework. Right, so your KGA from your unit exams in your HESI has to be at least a 78. Then I will add your homework grade. Okay. And then, of course, depending on what your homework grade is, as long as you're meeting this minimum of a 78%. If you do not have a 78% on your KGA, your homework grade does not do anything. It's not going to help. So if you're at a 77% KGA after your exams in HESI, then that's going to be your final grade. Your homework grades will not get added to that to give you a higher grade. Does that make sense? Everybody understands that?
Now, why
All
is
right.
that?
Go ahead.
Why is that?
That's the school policy. That is the way it was set up when they started the programs. And there's other schools and a couple other schools that I worked for. It's been very similar. You don't get credit for your homework until you're passing the class. Exams and quizzes. You have to have 2 devices for each exam. All right. Everybody has access to ExamSoft?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you'll have to have your laptop to take your exam on, and then a phone or even an iPad or whatever to run Zoom. So when we take our exams, you'll have to have two devices, one for Zoom and then one to take your exam. Make sure that they are charged or that you have a charger for them, because if you go off camera during an exam, you will get a 0 for the exam. So be very mindful of that. That's why we say make sure everything is charged or you have everything plugged in and ready to go, because there will not be an excuse. So we have our first exam isn't for a couple weeks. So you have plenty of time. So if you have to download Zoom on your phone or your iPad or something along those lines, again, just be prepared for that.
I have a
So,
question.
yes.
Can we take it if we being proctored by an instructor on campus?
Oh, yep, I'm getting to that. I'll get
Oh,
to that.
okay.
Yep, absolutely. So exams are scheduled and given through ExamSoft. Again, you're going to log into Zoom on a second device. You'll sign in to ExamSoft on your whatever your computer that you're taking your exam on. You're going to read your directions. Once everybody is ready, then I will make sure that you get your password. And then the biggest part of this is at the end, when you complete the exam, is making sure you get that green check mark and that you do not log out of Zoom until I tell you that yes, I have received your exam. Okay, that is a big part of it. And then once you submit, you should, like I said, you should see a confirmation page, right, with that little green check mark, and make sure that I have your exam before you log out. You are only allowed one attempt on your exam. You can't stop, pause, and resume unless you are having technical issues. If there are any technical difficulties during an exam, you need to stop the exam. You need to notify me immediately. Um, we can't, what do you call it? We can't repeat an exam to improve a grade. So if there's any issues that can impact your performance, talk to me before the exam and not after. And what does that mean? That means, let's say we're having an exam tomorrow, all right? And you were up all night because your child was sick, or you were up all night because you were sick, or had a life crisis, or an emergency, or something that is going to affect your ability to be successful on the exam. Tell me before the exam. Don't come into the exam, take the exam, not do so well, and then message me and say, oh, I was up all night with my child, but no, I can't do anything after. Okay, so we have to do preventive, do a preemptive strike. If there is something that is you think is going to prevent you from being successful on your exam, I need to know ahead of time. All right, I can't do anything after. I can help you before, I can't help you after. Your exams are timed as well, so be very mindful of that and pay attention to your time. And this is going to answer your question regarding on campus. So, first of all, anyone that has any kind of accommodations needs to notify me now. Well, not now, but via email, text, call. Um, as soon as possible. Just because you had accommodations last term doesn't mean that I know about it. All right. So, and then if you notify me less than 10 days before an exam, I may not be able to grant your accommodations. So if you have accommodations, please let me know as soon as possible. Your exams are held during your scheduled class time. So if we have an exam, it will be at 3 o'clock on Wednesday afternoons. Oh, another person. Um, and the only exception would be with written approval by your faculty and copy to the National Online Dean. Not taking an exam during a scheduled class time will result in an absence. All right. So again, you can't make up lecture time. If you want to take an exam on campus, all right, You can, as long as you have a faculty member that is going to proctor you on campus, I need 72-hour notice as well as the name of the faculty member that will be proctoring the exam. Again, it can only be done during the scheduled time. So if there's somebody that can proctor you at 3 o'clock on a Wednesday afternoon, then again, as long as I have 72 hours notice, then we can make that arrangement. Again, they are Zoom proctored. You must be on camera the entire time. You must show your photo ID. You also are going to have to show me your complete testing environment. All right, so be mindful of where you are testing. I'm going to, when we log in to take an exam and you're on your second device for Zoom, you're going to do a 360 of your room, the top of your desk, underneath your desk, anything around your desk, the chair, the floor, all that. You must show your ears if they are covered. That is just to make sure that you don't have anything in your ears. If you have a religious exemption, we can discuss that separately. And again, don't assume that your instructor is going to know everybody's individual requirements. One thing that is not, I don't see it on here, it might be on another one, but you are not allowed paper and pen or paper and pencil for your exam. You may have a whiteboard, or if you don't have a whiteboard, you can use a sheet protector and a dry erase marker, but you are not allowed to have a pen and paper. And then after the exam, your whiteboard must be erased. So I need to see that you're erasing your whiteboard. Missed exams will be held to the late work policy. So an exam missed without prior notice will be a 0. So if we have class at 3 o'clock and you don't, or an exam at 3 o'clock and you don't show up, then you will get a 0 for that exam if you have not notified me. Be on time for exams. If you're late, I will not let you into the exam once the exam has started. So please try to be on time. If you miss it for personal reasons and you've notified me, then that will result in the late penalty. So late penalty is a 10% reduction in your exam score. Exams missed due to an emergency will require documentation of the emergency, and you are going to submit that documentation to myself as well as the online Dean of Nursing Education. Um, and I'm just going to answer this out loud. The whiteboard, you don't have, not the whiteboard on your computer. You can have a separate whiteboard or a sheet protector or something separate that you can write on. Once you log into ExamSoft, you won't be able to access anything else on your computer. So you'll have to have something that is separate from the computer. So again, if you miss an exam because of an emergency, you need to notify me. You need to submit as well to Dr. Brown. And that needs to be done within 24 hours of the exam. And you have to present your documentation before we can reschedule your exam. And then any exam not rescheduled within 7 days is going to result in a 0. Okay, so you miss an exam, you have 7 days to mix that, you have 7 days to make it up. Again, I can't tell you how much this is, how important this is. If there's issues from that may prevent you from being successful on an exam, notify me before the exam. I can work with you. Afterwards, after you've taken the exam, you've submitted the exam, there's nothing I can do at that point. Okay, we want you to be successful. Communication is going to be a huge part of that. All right. So again, please, 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 please communicate. Talked about the technical issues. Again, if there's any technical issues, just stop and let me know. Your specialty exams, that is your HESI exam, those are given on campus. They are proctored by your on-campus faculty. You only get one attempt at the HESI. So your campus will give you the assigned date and time for the exam, and that is going to be 20% of your testing grade. Okay, so that's 20% of that KGA. And the benchmark for HESI is always going to be 900. When you look at homework, so you have your SurePath assignments. So the lessons in SurePath are going to cover key points from your reading assignments. So there's lessons can do text, they can be micro quizzes, osmosis videos, and assessments to test your knowledge. And so I will be able to look at your performance and how long you have spent on each lesson. So activities and assessments for each lesson must be completed. So as you go through that lesson, make sure that you complete all parts of it. You can repeat the assessment and submit your highest score up until the due date. After the due date, your first attempt will be recorded as your grade. Okay, so just be aware of that. And the lesson assessments, that's 10% of your homework grade. Your adaptive quizzes. The adaptive quizzes in SurePath will cover concepts from your reading assignments as well. Each quiz has 50 questions. So when you're sitting down to do your homework, make sure that you give yourself plenty of time in order to complete it. Quizzes are personalized to the student. It's there to help increase your mastery of the content. And so you can use the basic geriatric nursing textbook to research and answer the question. We don't proctor those quizzes. Those are taken at home. They must still be taken in one session though. So you have, like I said, make sure that you have plenty of time to sit down and take your quiz. You only have one attempt. All right. So that's why you just make sure that you're prepared when you sit down, like you have ample time to complete it. And then your adaptive quizzes are going to be another 5% of your grade. And then we have your professionalism. So professionalism is a key component of your success in the academic environment as well as in your career. So you will get a weekly assessment of your professionalism as per the grade in Canvas. It is based on attendance, communication, respect for diverse perspectives, adherence to guidelines, engagement, and responsibility. And so again, this is there to help you measure your progress and identify any areas that are needed for improvement. And so we're here to help you to develop your professionalism skills, right, that you are going to need as you enter the nursing workforce. And that the professionalism evaluation will be another 5% of your grade. All right. So that is all for the PowerPoint. So right now, just as we stand, does anybody have any questions? Everybody is good, basic understanding of what everything we covered. Okay. I'm going to look at something real quick. All right. So has everybody done their technology quiz and their orientation quiz? Yes? Awesome. So again, make sure you do your technology quiz, your orientation quiz, because that is what is going to unlock the rest of the module for you in order for you to stay on track and do everything that you are supposed to get done for the week. Again, my information is there for you. If there's any issues, please, again, reach out to me. I am going to pull up the syllabus next. Maybe. If my computer wants to cooperate, which I think it's more my mouse that doesn't want to cooperate right now. All right, so I'm going to share my screen again. All right, here is your course syllabus. Okay, so this is in your Canvas shell. When you get to your homepage in that list that's next to it, it will be listed there. All right, so this is a 2 credit course. Prerequisites were 110 and 111. Your co-requisite for this class is 135. It is a total of 20 contact hours for lecture for this course. Okay, so we sorry. So if I have 20 hours of lecture, okay, how many hours is that to miss for that 20%? Anybody know?
4.
Very good. So the maximum amount of time that you can miss for this class is going to be 4 hours. So be very mindful. That's 12 weeks. We can only miss 4 hours. Anything above that's right at 20%. So you don't want to you don't really want to get to 20% or above. You want to try to stay under that 20%. Your out of class hours are 40. And so I'll show you how that is broken down. You have your course description, you have your program student learning outcomes, your course student learning outcomes are listed as well. These are your required resources, and this is your reference packet. Okay, so we're going to use concepts for nursing practice as well as basic geriatric nursing. And then we are going to use the SurePath modules for your learning modules as well as the adaptive quizzing. And then these are your references. So, this is where your sim and your dosage and your basic math and all that stuff is in there for you. And then here is your grade. We know that for nursing students, you must have that right here, that 78% in order to successfully pass the class. This is your breakdown, unit exams. There's 3, again, that's 60%. Your HESI is one of them at 20%. Those are your 2 key graded assignment categories. Then your adaptive quizzes, your lesson assignments, and your professionalism are going to be your homework, and that will get added in after you meet that 78 KGA. So this is the distribution of out of class time. So again, class time is 20 hours. All right. And here's the estimated hours. So readings and learning activities, about 21 hours. Adaptive quizzes, about 9. And then they recommend about 10 hours studying for your exam prep. So that is broken up over the 12 weeks. Okay. This isn't per week. This is broken up over the 12 weeks. And then you have your broken down by weeks. Okay. So learning act, and I'm not going, I'll go through the first couple weeks. I'm not going to go through all 12, but it'll give you your learning objectives. It'll give you what your readings are and then what assignments. Okay, so you have lesson assessment number 1, which is chapter 1 on elder abuse. And then you have an adaptive quiz practice that needs to be done. Next week, right, we'll talk about health promotion, home considerations, maintaining fluid balance, meeting nutritional needs, safety needs, and then you will have lesson assessment 2 and 3. And then week 3, we have exam 1. Okay, so that will be weeks 1 and week 2 material will be on unit exam 1. All right, and then you go into the rest of the weeks. For time's sake, I'm not going to go through all of them. There is not class after the exam. All right. So after on exam weeks, there is not lecture after the exam. But again, I need to make sure you need to make sure I have your exam before you log out of Zoom. I will be posting the exam review schedule. So we will host live exam reviews. And there's literally an exam review every single day. The times all vary, then it's 7 days a week. So there's plenty of live exam reviews for you to choose from. My suggestion is that you attend a minimum of one. If you can attend more than one, that'll only benefit you even more. So every instructor does their own exam reviews, same material, but it could be presented in a different way. So that's why I suggest you attend, at minimum of one. But you can attend as many as you want. The recordings will be posted in the announcements. So if for whatever reason you didn't attend a review, you can watch the recording. But I will suggest again, very heartily, that you attend at least one review session. It will be beneficial to you. Students that attend the live review sessions generally will do better on the exams. There was something else I wanted to say about that. Because the live reviews allow you, right, to ask questions should you need to ask questions, versus just listening to some, a recorded lecture, which was unfortunately with a recording, right, it's not interactive. So I will post that for you as well. And you can add it to your calendars, however you need to do it in order to make sure that you try again to attend at least one of the review sessions. All right, any questions about the class? Any questions for me? Concerns so far? Everybody is good, okay, right now? All
Are we
right,
allowed to
everybody.
take notes during these reviews?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep, you can take notes, ask questions. That's why I said the live reviews are great. You can, you have access to the instructor, ask questions, take notes, and do whatever you need to do. Absolutely. And like I said, the recordings are all posted as well. So, all right, I'm going to give you guys a quick 10-minute break, or 9-minute break. So be back at 4:10.
Hello.
We went on break for 10 minutes.
Oh, okay. I had to step away and talk to my daughter coach. Thank you.
Mhm.
All right. So welcome back. All right. So, oops. Let me know, raise your hands, however you want to do it. Has anybody looked at the readings for this week? Glance through. No. So nobody has done. Okay, so nobody has looked at the readings. Okay. We had one. Okay, awesome. Um, so cool. All right. So if you look in your modules, it's going to, again, it'll outline what it is for this week. So you go to your modules, you can look at the week one overview, and that week one overview will give you a welcome. It'll tell you what the readings are, as well as what your assignments are for the week. It will also give you PowerPoint presentations for the chapters that are there. And then you can go to the concept connection underneath that, and that will give you a little bit more information about the concept for the week, as well as links to your assignments that are all going to be listed in your modules. All right, so become very familiar with your modules in Canvas. Go and look around, all that information is there for you. If you have any questions, again, please feel free to reach out to me. Our goal is for you to be successful. And so in order to be successful, we're going to work together to make sure that you get the information, you have the resources that you need in order to be successful. And so we do have a PowerPoint and I will share my screen. So Naomi, Aiden, Sydney, I need you guys to turn your cameras on, please. Thank you. Aiden, Sydney. All right, so let me share my screen. Maybe for some reason, I don't know what I need. A new mouse battery, I think is what I need. All right, so I have a PowerPoint for the there we go. So everybody see the PowerPoint? All right, awesome. So chapter 1, trends and issues. This again, this is your basic geriatric nursing 8th edition. And you're going to use your concepts for nursing practice 3rd edition. Those are going to be the texts that we are going to use. Your learning objectives for week 1. Concept connection is population health and older adults. So who are the elderly well, who are the elderly in America? Perspectives on aging. We'll talk about ageism versus age discrimination, healthcare economics, your healthcare costs, Medicare, advanced directives, abuse and neglect. And abuse and neglect is going to be your lesson number 1. So it's, signs of abuse, mandatory reporting, caregiver stress. So what is population health? So definition of population health is the health of groups of people composed of the physical, social, and economic environments that surround them and influence their health outcomes. And so that is in your Giddens book. So population is a group of people who share certain characteristics, such as a group of adults age 65 and older in a community who have type 2 diabetes. Okay, so that would be that population. Oops. All right. So health isn't just a state of being free from disease, but having the ability to respond to health challenges and adapt to them. So some of the focal points that we have for population health, deciding on the key indicators of health to be used to measure outcomes in a population. So and then assessing the physiological, social, economic determinants that contribute to those outcomes, investing in disease prevention, health promotion, and health protection. It's collaborating and it's addressing health disparities and promoting equity among all members of the population. What are health disparities? Who's heard that term before? Nobody has heard the term health disparities before. So let me ask this a different way. Does everybody in the United States have the same access to healthcare? No. Okay. So that is a disparity. That's a health disparity, right? So if I don't have the same access to healthcare as somebody else, then that is a disparity, okay, for whatever reason. So what are some reasons why some people don't have access to healthcare?
Where they
Money.
live. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Where they live and
Oh,
probably finances.
okay, where they live, their finances. Somebody else said something, I didn't catch it.
Basically what she said, I said money too.
Okay, so where you live. All right, what else?
I would say culture. Some people don't believe in modern medicine or even believe in medicine like that overall.
That's an excellent point. That is an excellent point. Culture is a huge part of that. And you hit the nail on the head. A lot of people don't believe in modern medicine, right? They prefer more of either their cultural practices, or alternative medicines, right? Um, why does where you live, why is that a potential issue?
Access to care, access to a hospital.
Not everyone has access to the proper like education to go get checked out and stuff like that.
Right. Access to care, access to education. If I live out in a rural area and the next closest town is 40 miles away and I don't have transportation, how often am I going to go to the doctor? Right. I may not, it's so. And there's a variety of issues that can lead to health disparities. And so we have to take that into consideration when we're working with patients and others. Um, so some of the interrelated concepts, I need to make this a little bit bigger for myself. With population health, we have health policy, health promotion, health disparities, healthcare organizations, healthcare economics, and healthcare quality. All right, so how do these concepts relate to um, care of the older adults? Oh, there's a big one. So how does this relate to care of the older adult? We look at health promotion. What's health promotion?
Promoting health
Okay, it's promoting health. And how do we promote health?
by teaching.
Okay, by education, right? Through
Mhm.
education, right? And it could be something as simple as teaching them about disease processes, right? Or how to take their medications appropriately.
And like
It could
providing
be,
like signs and symptoms of what they can potentially get.
yep, signs and symptoms. It could be what else? Health promotion, using your seatbelts every time you get into the car and putting your seatbelt on,
Diet and
using a
exercise.
diet and exercise.
Diet and
Absolutely.
exercise.
Miss
Diet and exercise.
Miss
Good
Martinez,
job. I'm sorry.
I have a question. This PowerPoint you're using, is this something that we have?
Nope, I will post it in your announcement.
Okay.
Yep, you
Okay.
absolutely will have it.
Okay.
Yep. It's also vaccines, right? Promoting vaccines, right? Making sure people get their vaccines. And how does that, what vaccines do we know are important for the elderly population?
Pneumonia.
Flu vaccine.
Yep. Flu vaccine, pneumonia
Okay.
vaccine,
Shingles.
shingles vaccine is another one, right?
They're like tuberculosis, I think that is. I don't know.
We don't have a tuberculosis vaccine, but if they're in a high risk area, then we're definitely going to do tuberculosis screening in that population, right? So yes. And so I'm going to go back to, yeah, so health disparities, it's always going to be a big thing that we need to worry about. And one of the biggest thing when we look at health disparities and not having access to health care for whatever reason it is, whether it's economic, whether it's access to health care, not having insurance, it's whatever the cause of the health disparity is. Biggest thing with these, they're more likely to suffer preventable illnesses, and even die or become ill with certain illnesses. When we look at like cancers, right? We know if we find cancer in earlier stages, right, then there's a higher survival rate is what I'll say. But a lot of times, if we don't have access to healthcare, then cancers and other diseases are found in later stages, which increases or it makes, what's it called? The prognosis is more poor in those patients. Your healthcare organizations. Okay, so healthcare organizations, these are everything. These are your hospitals, your clinics, your standing emergency rooms, your urgent care centers. It's all of that. And so, one of the goals, how they help to improve, population health is looking at those health disparities within the communities that they serve. Okay, and so they can look at what are some of the common things among that community and then address some of those health disparities to try to limit them. Healthcare quality. So healthcare quality. Um, how many of you, and you know, just throwing this out there, but how many of you have a hospital in your area that you avoid at all costs? Anybody? Okay. Right. We all have those hospitals, right? You're like, if I get sick, please don't bring me there, right? Even if you have to drive across town, bring me to the other hospital, right? Um, so healthcare quality is super important, and the higher quality care that is provided to the clients or the patients in those organizations, right, can help to improve the health of that population in that area. And we all know what economics is. Everybody gets hit by economics, right? And so healthcare economics is how are we spending the money in healthcare? Okay. Prevention is a lot cheaper than treatment, right? It's a lot easier to give somebody a pneumonia. It's a lot cheaper to give somebody a pneumonia vaccine or a flu vaccine than it is to treat pneumonia or to treat influenza, so to speak. So, you know, again, when we look at that, you know, that is where your education and overcoming those health disparities are going to play in a huge part in, right, getting the information out to the public. And so education must be a huge focus, as well as those primary prevention measures, right, that we can help to spread. Health policy. So health policies, you know, what are the, you know, we can look at health policy and I don't know how many people really pay attention to, you know, the things that are going on at the upper levels of our government as far as health policy goes. But policy sets the direction for action. Okay. So if we have health policy that emphasizes health promotion, okay, and creates goals, then health for all can be achieved. If we don't have that, then we're not going to be able to get, you know, better outcomes. So let's do some definitions, okay? Um, so gerontology. What is gerontology?
Study of geriatrics. I don't know. I know it has to do with
The
geriatrics.
study of geriatrics. So gerontology, um, so these are all kind of the same word, right? A little bit. So they're all going to be Jerry related. So gerontology is a medical specialty. Is that the medical specialty or the study of all aspects of the aging process?
The study of
With the
all
study.
aspects.
Okay. What is gerontics?
Never heard of it.
How
The,
about
The
what is
fear of aging
gerontophobia?
and
the fear of aging and refusal to accept older adults into mainstream society.
There you go. Yeah. So phobia we know is a fear, right? So that one we were able to kind of, right? We look at the ends of words. Okay. So ology is like think biology, physiology. It's a science. Okay. So here's your answer. So gerontology is the study of all aspects of the aging process, including the clinical, psychologic, economic, and sociologic problems of older adults. Your gerontics is nursing care and service provided to older adults, takes a holistic view of aging with the goal of increasing health, comfort, and caring for older adults. Geriatrics is the medical specialty that deals with the physiology of aging and with the treatment of diseases affecting older adults. And then gerontophobia is that fear of aging and refusal to accept older adults into mainstream society. All right, so myth or facts? So all older people are frail and have poor health. Is that a myth or a fact?
Math.
It's a myth. Most older adults living nursing homes. Myth or fact?
Myth.
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 Older adults have higher rates of depression than younger adults. Myth
Myth.
or
Fact.
fact?
A fact.
A fact. Most older adults are poor.
Myth.
Myth.
Myth. And then the greatest fear of most older adults is loss of income.
Fact.
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 All right. So yes, all older adults are frail and have poor health. Absolutely a myth. It is a myth that they live in, that most live in nursing homes. It is a myth that they have higher rates of depression than younger adults. It is a myth that most older adults live below the poverty line. I don't know, wait a minute. I don't know why they don't match up. And then the greatest fear that most older adults face is actually the loss of independence, okay? Not the loss of income. It is not a goal of every older person, right, to end up in a nursing home. In fact, most of us don't want to end up in a nursing home. Um, the aging population. So the 2020 census is only a few years ago. There was 55.8 million people aged 65 plus in the US, which was 16.8% of the population. May not seem a lot, but that's a lot of people. Okay. By 2040, the population of 65 years plus is expected to increase to 80.8 million people, or 21.6 of the population. And so that's the majority of our baby boomers. Okay, so the baby boomer generation, um, they were born between 1946 and 1964, I believe, 64, 65, something along those lines. They were the largest generation. They also had the least amount of children. All right, so that currently is where we're looking at caring for the older population. All right, and like I said, not all of us have this dream of going into a nursing home. So, where are these people going to be taken care of? Where are we going to provide a lot of the care for these patients?
Nursing home,
Say that again, Joseph.
long-term nursing home,
Okay, what if I don't want to go into a nursing
At
home?
their own home. At their
at their
own
own
place of
home.
residence.
Home
Yep.
health.
Exactly, in their own homes, right? So we might see an uptake in home health, right? That aging in place. Attitudes about aging, ageism. All right. So ageism is an emotional prejudice or discrimination against people based solely on age. Okay. So it's the dislike of aging in older people based on the belief that aging makes people unattractive, unintelligent, and unproductive. So what are some examples of ageism? Anybody give me some examples of ageism?
When you driving behind an old person,
Driving behind an old person and what? Fussing at them,
and
right? Because
they
they're
doing
going too
below the
slow.
speed limit.
They don't want to go the speed limit. They're going too slow. Um, Even sometimes driving too fast, right? That could potentially be one of the, issues that you may see as well. Or I remember I just an interesting story is when I was 18, I moved to Florida. My mom moved, well, actually my mom moved to Florida. I had ended up going with her, but she was taking care of my great uncle, and I don't remember how old he was. I'm not gonna lie, it's been a really long time, so I'm not really sure how old he was, but he drove a 1970 Dodge Dart, and I know some of you probably don't even know what that is, but I'm gonna say the front end was probably about as long as like a little Honda Civic. I just feel like it was so big. And they shrink with age. And so when he would drive down the road, he literally was looking through the top of the steering wheel and the dashboard, and that was his line of vision.
Mm.
And so, I'd be like, oh no, he's not driving again. But yeah, so driving behind somebody, what are some other potential, what
Gray hair.
about, okay, gray hair. Um, what about jobs?
Yeah, people feel like when they see older people that they can't perform the job as they used to, when in reality, most of them do it better.
Right.
Or
So
they have
that's also, huh?
or they have the mindset of like you can't teach an old dog new tricks, so they don't feel like an older person would be able to adapt to like new ways of doing things.
Absolutely, right? So we can see, right, that ageism is a potential issue, right? So if we have, two people that are maybe similarly qualified for a position or something along those lines, and one's, 75 and the other one is 35, right? Who are they going to more likely to pick, right? The 35-year-olds. So we do, that is there. Age discrimination, it results in different treatment of older people just because of their age. Again, that's very similar to I'm going to hire a younger person over an older person. um, Ethnic and gender differences. And so women currently outlive men by approximately 2.6 years. Okay, so women generally live a little bit longer than men. Whites tend to live longer than blacks. Hypertension and stroke are prevalent due to genetic predisposition. All right, so when we look at genetic predisposition, hypertension and stroke. Who are the highest risks for hypertension and stroke?
Black people
And, yep,
and older people.
older people and your Hispanic population as well, are at a high risk as well. So, we do, there are disease processes and things that are going to affect different ethnic groups versus others. And so that's going to play into, when we look at the that population breakdown, okay? Um, the United States, we are a very diverse population. And so, when we look at who were what races and what ethnic minorities represent the highest amounts here in the United States, right? Hispanics, black people, and then we have, whites, of course, and then Asians and American Indians, your Alaska Natives, your Native Hawaiians, right? Those are smaller portions of the United States. And depending on where you live, right, is going to determine how diverse that the area that you're in and what populations that you are going to work with. So we are we are trying to get rid of some of those health disparities as we are improving healthcare within the United States. And somebody mentioned it earlier, education is one of the biggest things, right? Is getting out there and reaching those target populations and providing the education about how important it is for them to get preventative healthcare. Income and economic status as of 2022, the median income of males over 65 was 37,000, females was 24,000. Okay, so think about where you're living now. Okay, and think about where you're living now and the cost of living. Do you think that you could live on $37,000
Mm-mm.
comfortably? Okay.
Of course not.
I'm sorry.
I said, of course not. I don't think that's going to be anywhere that you can live off of that now.
I don't know. Everybody keeps moving to Florida, so I don't know. Is it any cheaper in Florida? Um, but that's not a lot of money if you think about it. $37,000 is the median income. And women, look how much less that was, and women live longer than men. In 2023, 9% of our older adults live below the poverty level. Okay. So, I mean, it doesn't seem like a huge number, but it's still a significant amount of people when we look at the number of the elderly population, right? Their major source of income, Social Security, asset incomes, pensions, and other earnings. So the baby boomer generation was probably one of the last generations, although some in my generation may have pensions, but they are the ones that really had those last pensions. Everybody else, we have those wonderful 401ks and 403bs, A's, whatever they are. Um, some of the financial benefits of aging. So there's something to look forward to maybe as we get older. Tax breaks, more disposable income, reverse mortgages, or some people by then have paid off their mortgage, right? So they have lived in an area for a significant amount of time, right? Then they may not have a mortgage on their homes, right? They still have to pay insurance and taxes and, of course, the bills and things like that. But one of the benefits is that they may have paid off their mortgage. And then there's the AARP, the American Association of Retired Person, that provides advocacy resources, financial guidance for older Americans as well. So housing. So where are these people going to live? So independent or assisted living. All right. So there are older what are they like older adult like what do you call them? Apartment complexes, right? Um or they have more expensive living where they actually live in a community. There's assisted living where they do get some basic assistance with their ADLs. There's group homes. There's, of course, community-based residential facilities as well as nursing homes or extended care facilities. And so, sometimes the choice is something that they make on their own in some cases too, like in accidents or injuries, dementia, that kind of thing. They may end up in one of those nursing homes or extended care facilities based on their medical needs. Everybody, I'm sure, has heard of Medicare at some point in their lives. Medicare is a government program. It provides healthcare funding for older adults and disabled people. And so once, somebody turns the age 65, they have paid into Medicare for at least 10 years, then they are eligible for Medicare benefits. And there are four programs that fall under Medicare. We have Part A, Part B, Part C, and Part D. So this is what a Medicare card looks like. So Part A is the hospital insurance. So it covers, if you have to be an inpatient in the hospital. It also will cover some skilled care after hospitalization, some health nurse, some home health as well, your OT, your PT, your speech therapy. Part B is more of your like outpatient care. So it's your insurance for outpatient care. It is optional. Okay. So you don't have to have Medicare Part B. But most people will usually choose to have Part B insurance as well. So it covers about 80% of the rates charged by providers after you've met your deductibles and things. It'll also cover like if they need to go, if they have to have an ambulance ride for whatever reason, their PTOT, their speech therapy, home health, mental health, x-rays, labs, medical supplies, and equipment, surgeries, that kind of thing. So that would be the Part B. Part C is the Medicare Advantage programs. These are optional plans that are not offered straight through Medicare. They are offered through private companies that Medicare does approve for those that are eligible for Part A as well as enrolled in Part B. And so what this is this is, it is an extra cost, but it is something that people can get that kind of helps to cover some of the costs that Medicare does not cost, right? So if my Medicare Part B only covers 80% of my doctor's office visit, then my Medicare Advantage plan might cover the remaining 20%. Right. So it is something that is beneficial. Again, a lot of times it is something that it's going to cost them a little bit more money. Some of your Part C plans will also have prescription benefits, or you can do the Medicare Part D, which is the prescription drug coverage. Again, this one is voluntary as well. You must be enrolled in Part A and Part B in order to get Part D. Again, always going to be a little bit more out-of-pocket cost. So medical gets to our medical costs and end of life care. So a quarter of all of our Medicare dollars are spent on services for patients in their last year of life. Okay, that's a pretty big chunk of money, right, in that last year of life. And so what are we, basically what are we spending that money on? So questions are being raised about the appropriateness of using intensive, expensive interventions to extend the lives of terminally ill older adults, right? So, if they're elderly and they're terminal, right? What treatments, what interventions, what are we providing for them? Is it potentially going to extend their lives, or is it something that is more palliative? And so there's always going to be people looking into this. How are we spending those healthcare dollars? There's not a clear-cut answer. It's a very more emotional issue, right? And how we're treating our adults. We're not saying that we're not going to provide curative therapies, but there's potential that we, don't want to try to overload. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm beginning to echo. Live by an Air Force base and the jets are flying, so I apologize for that if it does sound like I have an echo. Advanced directives. Who's heard of advanced directives? All right, so that's another big thing that we should, everybody should have advanced directives. This is something that you do while you are of sound mind, of sound body. You can literally list everything that you want to be done and not be done in the event that something devastating happens. And so now is your time to do it while you are of sound mind. This can include, right, whether or not you want to be resuscitated, should you go into cardiac arrest? Do you want to be intubated? Do you want nutrition and oxygen should something happen? So again, those are something that can help as well. We look at the impact of aging. I've only got 3 minutes, so but we look at the impact of aging members in the family. We have sandwich generations. Okay. So these are generations like myself. I don't have any parents to take care of anymore, but my mom passed away a few years ago, but taking care of mom and then taking care of, my own kids and things like that. That's that sandwich generation. So you're taking care of parents, grandparents, and you're raising your children as well. And so it can put strain and really have an impact, right, on the family, lead to caregiver strain. It can be physically draining, psychologically draining. It also can be financially draining depending on the situation. Changing care, role changes in grandparents. One thing that I noticed that when I started working in pediatrics, I was very surprised about the number of grandparents that are raising their grandchildren for a number of reasons, right? And so that, although they do say that helps you to live a little bit longer, but that is something that, their demographics are changing across the country where we have a lot of grandparents now that are raising their grandchildren. And, for an older adult, that can be stressful, right? And cause some strife within the family as well. So here we go. We're going to do this last question. The adult daughter of an older home health client tells the nurse, I feel like my husband and I never have any time alone anymore. We love taking care of my mother, but it gets frustrating at times. What should the nurse recommend? All right. So first, before we get any further, what's the topic of this?
Not having time, not having alone time.
Okay, not having alone time and what else?
It's almost like they feel like the person is a burden on them because they can't do anything but take care of them.
Okay.
Getting flushed.
What are go ahead, what are the priorities?
Taking care of the mother, but also being able to have time for themselves as a married couple.
Good job. All right. So which services should the nurse recommend?
Respite
Community
care.
It's E.
Respite care.
Respite care. Everybody likes the respite care. Yeah. So we can do a support group, right? Oops, my mouse. Community center, senior community center, respite care. Those would all be potentially good options. Can't keep you too much longer, but the senior community centers, those are actually really good. And some of them even offer like adult daycare programs where the older adult goes there during the day, allows for socialization. They give meals. Sometimes they have providers that are there, nurses and CNAs to provide some basic ADL care. And then, the respite care, that is key. Respite care, we do respite care where I work, up to 2 weeks. So it gives the family a little bit of break, right? To, go on vacation, do things that they need to do, and then still ensure that their loved one is cared for. So I will post these PowerPoints for you. And I can't keep you much longer because I'm already over time. But I wanted to try to get as much in because, orientation has to be done as well. So I wanted to try to get as much of the week one concepts in. Does anybody have any questions for me? Nope. Well, I will tell you, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you for, I know a couple of you guys had some issues getting in. Hopefully we get that resolved. Save my Zoom link, save my phone number, my email address, all that stuff. And you guys have an awesome week. All right. And I will see y'all next week.
Thank
Thank
See
you.
you
you.
next week. Be safe.
Thank you too.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.